We have the Washington Commanders taking on the Denver Broncos. This is your Week 2 2023 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start off with the home team, the Denver Broncos. Last week, this team suffered a brutal loss against the Las Vegas Raiders. They lost the game by a point. And basically the game was iced when Jimmy Garoppolo scrambled for a third down late in the game. But the offense looks 100% better than what it looked like last season, even though it's still not perfect. Jerry Jeudy did not play last week, but he is on pace to play in this game, and that should help out Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson last week had 2 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That is perfect. But he was 27-34 in the day, 177 passing yards. He was dinking and dunking the ball off a lot. Samaje Perine was the #1 wide receiver for this team in terms of getting receptions, even though he is a running back. He had 4 receptions for 37 yards. That was it. Cortland Sutton struggled on the day. He had 5 targets for a catch of 32 yards. The biggest thing with this Denver Broncos team is to continue to protect Russell Wilson. They did a good job of that last week. He did get sacked twice, but a lot of it was because they're running some play-action bootlegs. They're getting the ball off to the running backs in space. Continue to protect Russell Wilson, and the offense should find itself, and it should be fine because you're going against a good front seven in the Washington Commanders. When I take a deeper look at this Denver Broncos offense just from last week, it's going to be a lot of just getting the ball out quick and doing what they did with the Seattle Seahawks in terms of just getting Russell Wilson comfortable and just condensing the field. Russell Wilson, I don't even see him doing this in this game. He didn't do it last game as well. He didn't take that many shots down the field. Now, getting Jerry Jeudy back for this week is going to be a plus. Maybe they'll be able to do that in terms of just getting the ball down the field within 15 to 30 yards or just trying to take some deep shots, just trying to keep the defense honest. But with the way that the offensive line was protecting last season, the way they were able to get down the field at certain points in time, I'll definitely look at them to still try to do that check down system, run the football as much as possible with guys like Javonte Williams, who only had 13 carries last week. I expect for him to come back and get more carries in this game. He's coming off the ACL injury from last season, and he looked very good in last week's game as well. So continue to protect Russell Wilson and do everything possible to make sure that he does not turn the football over and put this team in harm's way. Now, the defense for the Denver Broncos, this is where they played good, but at the same time they struggled. The secondary looked very good. Patrick Surtain had a very good game. I know that he's getting a lot of flack right now for getting Jacoby Myers out of the game for that hit across the middle of the field. But the secondary plays solid with guys like Patrick Surtain, Justin Simmons, and Kareem Jackson and crew. One thing that is very concerning is the pass rush. The pass rush was not good last week. And now they're going to be missing Frank Clark for a couple of games. What I'm looking at here is who's going to be able to go and pressure Sam Howell, a team that gave up a lot of sacks last week to the Arizona Cardinals. I think guys on this defensive line have to step up. Guys like Zach Allen, Randy Gregory, and Jonathan Harris. They have to come in and just put some pressure on Sam Howell, because Sam Howell has some very good wide receivers such as Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and Jahan Dotson that may be able to give the Denver Broncos trouble a couple of problems. So you have to be able to go out there and pressure him, whether it's coming out with a blitz or just doing anything to just pressure Sam Howell and stopping the run of the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell is a very young quarterback. Throw some looks at him that he's never seen before, and also go in there and try to stop the run game and make him beat you at certain points in times in this game, and bring the house on third down if you need to. Just pressure him and make sure that you get him off his spot, whether it's just hitting the receivers off their routes or just being aggressive. But come out and be very aggressive with this Washington Commanders team, especially up front. And the Denver Broncos could very well win this game. This is going to be a very defensive heavy game in my opinion. Now, let's take a look at the Washington Commanders. Last week, they had a tough win over the Arizona Cardinals, a team that a lot of people thought were going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and that still could happen. But they won that game by 4 points. It was 16-20. And on the day, Sam Howell was 19-31, 202 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he got sacked 6 times. This offensive line has to play better. And they also did not give Sam Howell much room in the running department as well. They're making sure that he was not able to get outside the pocket as much. He only had 2 carries for 11 yards and 1 touchdown. In terms of just getting the run game going, they struggled last week as well with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson had 19 carries for only 59 rushing yards. That's 3 yards a carry. And the longest rush of the day was 7 yards. Antonio Gibson only had 3 carries and 9 yards, and he also fumbled the football as well. They have to take care of the football here. Curtis Samuel is questionable for this game, but he was a leading wide receiver last week with 5 catches for 54 yards. You got to get him going. And he also had a long catch in that game for 32 yards. He is the guy that I'm looking at in this matchup. I know that's crazy to say, but we know that Jahan Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin are guys that are key players on this team. But Curtis Samuel is a sleeper, a guy that you can put into the backfield, inside the slot, and can be on special teams as well. Curtis Samuel could be that safety blanket for Sam Howell in this game if he's able to play. And if he's not able to play, I'm looking at Jahan Dotson, because more than likely they're going to be very aggressive with Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin is one of the best wide receivers in the game, but Patrick Surtain's one of the best corners in the game. I think that Patrick Surtain's going to try to come out and try to use the same tactics he used against Devontae Adams, because you look at the tactics that he was using against Devontae Adams. It was to get aggressive at the line of scrimmage and match with him from hip to hip and use his range that he has as a corner. So that's one of those situations I'm looking at. But the Commanders have to do a 100% better of a job of protecting Sam Howell. Just because the Denver Broncos are not able to touch Jimmy Garoppolo last week does not mean that they won't be able to touch Sam Howell this week. 6 sacks for any quarterback is crazy, especially a quarterback that is still young in his career. And last week was his second game just starting in the NFL. This will be his third game. So I have to get the run game going and protect Sam Howell up front. And I'm looking at Eric Bieniemy as well. He called a lot of plays last week. There were some long routes going down the field. Call some plays like some screens to get the ball out quick. He did some of that last week, but do more of that. Condense the field a little bit, then open things up if the offensive line did show up and play for this upcoming game. Now let's talk about the defense. The defense came in clutch last week. They were able to go out there and they sacked Josh Dobbs a lot. He got sacked 3 times. They were getting a lot of pressures back there in the backfield. I'm looking at guys like Montez Sweat, who had 1.5 sacks this game, and Jonathan Allen. I'm looking at Deron Payne, and you'll be able to have Chase Young for this game. I know Chase Young's dealing with a lot of injuries, and he didn't play much of last season. He didn't play last week, but it's definitely going to help this defensive line, because you need to go out there and sack Russell Wilson, just put pressure on Russ. The biggest thing from last season with Russ, when they put pressure on him, he was not able to get outside the pocket as he used to in years before. So I'm looking at this Washington Commanders team. Go out there, put pressure on him with your original front 5 guys. You don't have to go out there and blitz, because one thing about those wide receivers on the Denver Broncos, they can get past you. Cortland Sutton may not be the fastest wide receiver, but he can get past you. And Jerry Jeudy is a very good route runner as well. So you do not just want to be blitzing for no reason. Go out there, let your guys in secondary do their job, but it all starts with this front 7. Go out there, pressure Russell Wilson, and get him off his spot. And another thing I'm looking at in the secondary is not to be over aggressive. Jerry Jeudy is a very good wide receiver in the route running department. Opposite of what the Washington Commanders need to do, this team doesn't need to go out there and press these wide receivers. You can just play some off coverage, because I do believe that the front 7 can get home for this Washington Commanders team. And it's also another situation as well. Watch the running backs in space. I think this should be one of those games that Jamin Davis needs to come up big, and also with Cody Barton as well. Cody Barton is a veteran linebacker, and I'm not saying that he needs to go out there and be Fred Warner, but he needs to watch these running backs in space. Go out there and try to meet the running back at the point of attack, and make sure that Russell Wilson's not able to target him out the backfield every single play for some checkdowns, because that's how they went down the field so much against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. Make this team one-dimensional. They're going to condense the field and just make sure that you're able to make tackles in space. The Washington Commanders could come out and win this game, and I do think it's going to be a defensive battle. I have the Washington Commanders winning this game 19-16. I just don't see a situation to where the Denver Broncos offensive line, even though it is improved, that they're going to come out and weather the storm against that front 7 of the Washington Commanders. So let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game, the Washington Commanders or the Denver Broncos? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.